Yeah, last session, this audio is audible. The last session we are seeing this one, we actually were focusing on the control statements. In the control statements, we had come to the which one? The last part. Which one is that? The jump or branching statements. Okay, if you want to write jump or branching, we have got three keywords. Which is that? Which are the three? Break, continue. Four are there. Break, continue, return, and go to. Break, continue, we finished. Go to is reserved, not supported in Java. Leave it. We are going with return now. So actually, my focus is return keyword. Actually, my focus is return keyword. To teach you return keyword, I am taking one different approach here. Means I am actually showing you, because return keyword can be understood only after you understand how to write methods or functions. So first I will be focusing on how to write methods. Then we will be coming to return keyword. So don't deviate. The topic is what? Return keyword itself. But to make you understand return keyword, I have to take a different route. That's it. Okay. So because return keyword is always used in callee methods. Why you have to first study methods is because there are two types of methods: caller method, callee method. Right now you are seeing only one method. Which one is that? Main method. So there, if I use return keyword, it will not be that comfortable for you. I'll use return in main also. Let's see what happens later. But actually we will understand what is caller, what is callee. From callee I'll send values to caller. From caller also I can send values to callee. All that we'll do now. Okay. Then you'll understand what is the importance of return keyword. But let me revise yesterday's program again. Okay, that program what I wrote yesterday, we'll see it again. I'll type it and show it to you. Okay, the requirement right now is I want to give the value stored in one variable to another variable. That is the requirement. I want to give the value from one variable to another variable. It depends. Sometimes they will be in the same scope, sometimes they will be in different scope. So if at all you want to give the values within the same scope, how you do it? If at all you want to give the values in different scope, how will you do it? That we'll start seeing now. Okay, now here scope means I'm using method as the scope. I'm not talking about block scope. Here I'm talking about method scope. There are two types of scope. One is block scope, other one is method scope. Right now I'm focusing on method scope. So I want to give the values in a variable in a method. I want to give the values which are stored in a variable in one method to the variables in another method. Okay, so let's see how you do all this now, and you'll get the clear idea. Yesterday I wrote the code, but still I'll write it for you, then we'll code and see this also. So first we'll see the variables in the same scope. Class demo, public static void main, see this. I taken what variable names? XY or AB? AB. So int A is equal to 15, int B is equal to 20. I taken two variables. I also declared two more variables, x is equal to 0, int y is equal to 0. So in this case what's happening now? You know what is the ASCII value of 15? 4 ones, huh? 3, 4, 5, 6. And one more is there now, B. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have written assume that I have written only the last 8 bits. Okay, you are still having how many bits here? This side will be having 24 bits because it's an int. This side it is 8 bits, totally 32, but I can't write all this. Again it will be 0 only here. Don't bother about this part. This part you don't bother. Okay, but concentrate on the last 8 bits. Same way in B also there will be 24 bits. This side, and 8 bits I have written this side. This is 24 bits, and here you got 8 bits. So we are mainly focusing on the last 8 bits. So carefully see the program, how it works. So this is A variable for you, this is B variable for you. So that is A. So when I say A is equal to 15, what happened? 1, 1, 1, no? 4 ones? 1, 1, 1, 1. So 15 is represented in this format. Yes, sir? And 20, what is the ASCII value of binary value of 20? Huh? 1010. 1010. 10100. Okay, correct now? So this is how 20 is stored in the memory, and that is how 15 is stored in the memory. Now these two are x and y are what? They are also int only, but their value is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these values will be 0 only now, because I given the value. This is 24 bits, leave it. Same way we are having y. earlier this 24 bits, it will be 0. Just I am telling you very clearly it is 0. Don't bother too much about this. Focus on the last 8 bits. So this is y. Now both are 0. X and y are 0. So this is how memory has been allocated. 4, 4, 4, 16 bytes of memory will be allocated. So SOP AB. If I print, what will it print? This will print 15, this will print 20. SOP XY also you can print. What will it print? 0, 0. And they are the values. Now the requirement is, I want to give the value which is there in A to X. That's the requirement. I want to, whatever value is there in A, I want to give it to X variable. Similarly, whatever is value is there in B variable, I want to give it to Y variable. Okay, I want to give it. But here the scenario is, yes, we want to give the values, but X and Y are in the same scope. A, B, X, Y are in the same scope. So when the variables are in same scope of what? Method. When the variables are in the same scope of the method, how will you give the value? We use the assignment operator. So assignment operator is used for giving values from one variable to another variable. You know that assignment operator, no? What is the assignment? We have studied the operators. We have studied the operators, all the operators. Which operator I am using now? Assignment operator. Okay. So when I use the assignment operator, what happens? The value from the right hand side variable operand is given to left hand side. So X will get what value now? A's value. What is the value of A? 15. So that value will be provided. Whatever the value is there in A, it will be provided now. Clear? So but there are rules for this. What are the rules? If you want to give the value from one variable to another variable, both of them should be same type. Okay. Range and size, all this is there. And when all are compatible, if you want to give the value, that time you use assignment operator. Understood? Three things should be same. Then you will use the assignment operator and give the value. Perfectly it will work. Else something is different, you will do typecasting. Like provided it is compatible, you can do typecasting. You can typecast what? Into byte, that and all you can do. But you cannot typecast what? Into boolean and all. So all this you know now, rules you know of data types. But finally, how are you giving the value? That's the question here. All this is okay, but finally value will be given from one variable to another variable using the assignment operator only. So it is done. So what happens now? It will copy. X is here now, it will copy. So this is how it works. Whatever is there, blindly it copies. All the 32 bits will be copied. All the 32 bits from there will be copied into, I am just writing last 4 bits. But all the 32 bits will be copied from A to X. Similarly, what happens? I'll say Y is equal to B. So what happens? All values will be copied from B to Y now. Okay. So it will be 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. This is how it will overwrite. Are you comfortable now? It is overwriting the values. Are you comfortable? So 15. So actually you see earlier this was 15, this was 20, this was 0, this was 0. Now this becomes what? 15, this becomes 20. Now 0 becomes what? 20. Are you clear now? First A was 15. Yes or no? First A's value is 15. X value is 0. B value is 20. Y value is 0. First, when I do this, when this statement gets executed, these are the things will get changed. From 0 it will be changed to 20. Here also from 0 it will be changed to 15. It overwrites. Are you clear with this? Here I have written in decimal format, here I have written in binary format. Either way you understand. Fine. So now I will print SOP X, Y, A, B. Print all the values. You will find there will be no change. Means whatever it will start printing now. A is 15, X is 15, B is 20, Y is 20. Perfectly it will print. So we have provided the value. Next, after giving the value, you can use X and Y in your own way. Whatever you want, you do now. Nobody is questioning you. There are 4 variables. You can use all the 4 variables now. It's up to you. But right now, you can use and do anything. You can add, you can multiply, do anything. But right now what I show you is, I'll try to manipulate X and Y. And when you manipulate X and Y, you clearly see here, A and B are unaffected. It will not affect A and B. That you see now. Focus is that now. Okay. So I will manipulate. How will you manipulate now? You know how to manipulate now? X into is equal to 2. Y divided by is equal to 2. You can do any kind of manipulation. So if I manipulate X and Y, definitely it will not affect what? A and B. Because they are 2 different memory locations. I am manipulating what now? X. So X will become what now? 15 into 2. That becomes, you know what is the 30 representation? I know, left one. That's all, huh? Okay. So you'll have one more here. That's it. Which one? This last one will become 0. Okay. So this is multiplied by 2 now, and this is how 30 is going to be. So now it's changed to 30. It will operate upon itself. And what will this happen now? 1 will move this side. That's it. So this will become 0. This is the representation for what? 15. 1, 1, 1. You got it now? Sorry. 20 divided. Everything becomes 1. How is 20 divided by 2 is what? 10, no? 1, 0, 1, 0. Just understand. Okay. Just understand what happens. So this is our change. So I can write this code in two ways. X means if I want to really modify X, I could have written it in what way? This way also I can write X is equal to X into 2. Y is equal to Y into 2. Y divided by 2. This is also valid. But here actually it's a long way of writing it. There are two disadvantages. One is the expanded way of writing it, and the second one is it is performance wise this is found to be degrading. So that's why what we do, we can use these shortcuts. So the language itself provides you the operators. Which operator is this? Assignment operator only, compound assignment operator. I can use this. So here what happens, it will operate upon itself. The compound assignment operator will operate upon itself and it will modify the value. So fine, but actually whatever modification happens, I am telling you internally what is happening. That is secondary. But if I modify X and Y, it will not affect A and B, no? If I modify A and B, sorry, X and Y, it will not affect A and B. Very clearly you can see now. So SOP A, B, again you print X, Y. So it is not going to affect. Means the summary of all this is, okay, the summary of all this is, I want to give the value stored in one variable to another variable. How will you give? By using assignment operator. After you give, you do any manipulation with that variable, other variables, it will not affect the original variable. That is what you have to understand. It's not that after giving the value you have to manipulate it. Don't think that after giving the value I have to multiply by 2, I have to divide by 2. That is not the story here. Story here is if you manipulate anything there, it is unaffected to A and B. If you manipulate X and Y, it will not affect A and B. If you manipulate A and B also, it is not affecting X and Y. Vice versa also true. Clear? Are you clear with this? So in this hardly you might feel what is so big thing about this. What is so important thing about this program. Okay, so these basics play a big role when we start writing bigger programs now. So these basics, are you clear now? How it works? Okay, so till now A and B and X and Y were all variables present in one scope. Which scope? Scope of the method. Okay, now what I'll do, these two variables I want to give to another variable which is there in different scope. Here scope means I'm not talking about block scope. I'm talking about method scope. Next I'll come to block scope. First understand methods, then I'll come to block scope. Understood? So we are talking about method scope now. So I want to give the values from one method to another method. Yesterday we were discussing this. I'll code and show you that. But let's see now. First of all, what is a method? What is a method? Function. They contain reusable logic. Methods are nothing but group of statements. Methods contain always group of statements and they help you in reusing it. Logic, some logic. Instead of writing it again and again repeatedly, what we do, we write the code in methods, and whenever we want that logic, we can invoke it. Invoke means call. We can call it. Technically we say invoke. Okay, we can invoke it. So that's how the methods are written. So see, almost all Java is using C syntax only to write the methods. Yesterday I wrote the syntax for you. Syntax of a method is what now? What is the syntax of a method in Java? Return type. Return type. Then we'll see one by one what it is. First one is return type. Okay, this is the syntax. Then would be method name. Then would be, actually I'll write it, data type. Yesterday I wrote only parameters. Just write it. Data type, name, variable name. Variable name, comma. Again data type. It can have any number. Variable name. This will be the syntax. So and there we'll have the body. Same C syntax only. So this line, these two things means return type. This is one part of the method. It's called as return type of the method. This becomes name of the method. And all these things put together in the brace will form what? Parameters. See, this is called as a return type. You know, return it. Return type of the method we say. Return type of the method. What is method name? It's an identifier. Identifier means what? Names. Identifiers are names. You can give any name. Okay, but you know, you can, even though you can give any name, we follow some conventions. You know what is that convention for a method now? Camel casing. First letter, first word should be small. First letter, first word should be small. Second word, first letter should be caps. Again, if you are having third word in the method name, third word, first letter, caps. It will go like camel casing. Okay, so follow that convention. I told you about this convention. Example is if the method name is save employee. So S will be small, E will be caps. This is how you write the method. Method name. Okay, get employee. So it will be like this. Now supposing I write find all active employees. So how do you write the method name now? Find all, no space will be there. Remember that. Find all active employee. Like this you write the method. Are you clear? These are called as identifiers. So even when you write a method, right now we are not following so big conventions. We are just writing M1, M2 like that. But later on we'll become more professionals in writing method names. Right now the method names what I am giving is what? Show, fun, like that I'll start giving. Later on I'll be giving you very good names. Yeah. So this is a convention. Then the third one is called as parameters. Parameters of the method. So when you're writing a parameter, one rule you should follow. You should have a data type, then the variable name, comma. You want one more parameter, one more data, the type you have to specify, then the name. Again one more type, like that it is any number you can have here. Okay. Now parameters are not mandatory. If you want you can write a method with parameter. If you want you can write a method without parameter. It's optional. Okay. And then you'll have the body now. The fourth part is called as this brace is called as body of the method. So when you write a method, remember this. These four parts are very important. Okay. So now see the parameters are optional. You might have, you might not have. Return type, we'll start seeing what it is. Okay. What is return type? This is where the return keyword comes into picture. Understood? To study return type only, I have to teach you what? Return keyword. There you clearly understand what is return type. Yeah? So this is how you write a method. So I'll write on method now. Okay, so here you'll be containing what? Body of the method will contains what? It contains logic. Body of, this is the fourth part, and this is body of the method, and it contains reusable logic. So whenever you want you can call it. That's it. So it's almost all same now. What you have seen in which one? C, same thing you are following here. Same C syntax they are using, nothing to worry now. Yeah? So I'll write on method now and I'll show you. So I will be writing on method, and the main method will call this method now. Main method is going to call this method. You are understanding now why we write? See, if I write all the code in main method, what will happen? I can't reuse now. You are understanding why I am writing a method now? If I write all the code in main method, what happens? I can't reuse it. We'll have problems. So that is why we start organizing. Some logic in one method, another logic in another method, another logic in another method. We start writing the code like this. Okay, now main will decide what method to call. If it wants some logic, it will call that. Some other logic, it will call that. Like that it goes on calling the methods. Yeah? So we'll see. So see, from here Java becomes very interesting. From here Java becomes very interesting. All of you, after completing engineering, what you wanted to do? You wanted to write great logics of the world. Yes or no? So if you want to write logic, if you want me to use it, yes or no? So learn to write a method first. That is why you did engineering, no? Why did you do engineering? For writing some of the greatest logics of the world. Yes or no? So you can write here. Yeah? So writing logic is very easy. Do not bother about that. All of you are worried too much about writing logic. This is one of the easiest thing in the world. And you will do it because you are all engineers. But problem is you don't know how to write these three things. Which one? Return type, when you should go for what type of return type, name you will give. Somehow you will manage. These two are the places where you find lot of difficulty. So I will be teaching you immensely in these two things now, return type as well as parameters. This is the major place where you have problems. Rest all is easy, don't bother about writing logic, comfortably you can write logic. Clear? You might be from any stream, engineering, you might be electrical or electronics, or you might be computer science, that is secondary, you can write the logic. Everybody, whatever branch you are from, you will be facing problems only in these two types now. So I start focusing on this, okay, but it's very simple, you don't have to worry too much about this. Now this part is used for what you know. For sending means this part is used for receiving values sent from caller to callee. If caller method sends values to callee method, no, this part will be accepting it here. But if callee method wants to give values to caller, no, that time return type will come into picture. So it's all about exchange of values. Parameters will be useful when you want to give values from caller to callee. Return type is useful when you want to give values from callee to caller. That's all, it's very simple. But even though it looks simple in theoretical way, programmatically, practically, you have confusions. Okay, so you writing, see you will write a logic now, that's not a problem for you. But your logic needs values now. Your logic needs values, and those values will be supplied as arguments to your parameters. After completion of the logic, sometimes you want to give value from callee to caller also. That time, return type will come into picture. Understood? So that is when, if you want to return some value from callee to caller, we will use a return keyword. That is actually what I am focusing. I am just focusing on return keyword only. But for understanding return keyword, you have to learn how to write methods. The whole subject is method only. In fact, I will be teaching you how many days to write methods, you know. Nearly 3 months I teach you how to write methods, not 1 month. It's such a vast subject. Okay, so don't neglect this. This is one of the most interesting things. Don't think that every day I'll teach you how to write a method only, no. Parallelly you'll be seeing it. Because I'll be writing logic, that time I'll explain why I'm writing the method like this. We will write logic, and that time I'll justify. Okay, this is the logic. For this, parameter should be this one, return type should be this one. From now we are going to write logic only. Every day what we'll do now? Write logic, logic, logic. So as you go on writing more and more methods, you'll get the idea about this. Yeah? Shall I clear all this now? We'll write now. You got the idea of method now, what it is? Huh? This is clear now? I'll clear this now and I'll start writing the code now. See, I want to, see there are, same thing I'll take now. I show you the same program. Int A is equal to 15, int B is equal to 20. That's it. Let's leave this main method here. I'll write one more method. And see, whenever you want to write a method here, you just use static. Don't bother what it is. Just use static here. We'll see it. Static is an extra word what is coming now. We'll leave static. Don't bother what is static now. We'll see it later. Static void m1 int x int y. Understood? So then here, see as you print SOP xy. As soon as you get the value, you can print it. Okay, then I'll modify x multiplied by is equal to 2. Y divided by is equal to multiplying x only, no? Okay. Then you will print SOP x, SOP y. A very simple scenario now. There is main method, there is M1 method. There are two methods now. Present in which one? Class demo, there are two methods. Which are the two methods? One is the main method. Public static void main. Okay, I'll write it a little bigger this time. See, always a method should have what? Name, return type. parameters, body. So this is the logic what you write. You can write any logic in the world. Okay, it's not that you have to multiply and divide only. Same way you can see here. Main is what? Leave these things. Public static you leave. What is void? Return type. Main is what? Name of the method. What is this? Parameter. This is what? Body. Same. You take any method in the world, it will follow. Have this in Java especially. It will have definitely have this 4 parts. Yeah. So now requirement is very simple. Now I want to give the value of a and b to x and y. Very simple scenario. Nothing else. The scenario is very simple. Same scenario what you are facing there. It is we are facing the same problem here. I want to give the values from a and b to x and y. But the problem is they are in different scope. Okay, if I want to give, I cannot do it here. See here, x is equal to a, y is equal to b is invalid. Why? X and y are in this scope. You know what is scope now? So x is belonging to this scope. Y is belonging, sorry, a and b are belonging to this scope. So a and b you can use here, x and y you can use here. But I can't use a and b here. Nor can I use x and y there. That is scope. So scope has just started. Don't think in one example you understand what is scope now. Okay, scope has just started. Okay, we are talking about scope of variables in methods. We are talking about scope of variables in methods now. So now it is not accessible. See here also I cannot do this. X is equal to a, not possible. Y is equal to b is also not possible. I cannot use that here. I cannot use. You try to compile, you get the error. It says undefined variable. In this scope there is no variable called as x. How are you going to give the value of a to x? That is the mistake. But what will you search for? Very semicolon missing. Correct? Huh? Error is what? So you should observe now when you write the code, simply don't look for what? Semicolon. First of all, you should not get this error only. First of all, you should not get such errors. This is programming problem now. And you are not coded properly, what will you say? If you are coding C, you will tell C is difficult. If you are coding Java, you will tell Java is difficult. You can't blame languages like that. Whatever you are coding, you will tell that is difficult now. Finally, what will you learn? Nothing you will learn. Clear this. So problem is what? Are you following now? I'll type and show you. This one also I'll show you. This is the problem. So I'll remove this because I don't have space. That will give you error. But simple requirement is I want to give the value of a and b to x and y. But it's in a different scope. But it's in a method. So how will you give the values now? Clear? So what I do, I'll call this method. Like this, you'll have many methods. I've just written the first method. You can have m1, you can have m2, you can have m3, add, multiply, divide, any number of methods you can have. So you decide which logic you want to use. Based on that, you call the method. Here I want to call m1. If you want, you can call other methods also. So you call methods like this. That is why you give name to the methods. Understood now? I want the logic in m1 to execute. But to execute logic here, you have to supply two values now. Otherwise, how will the logic execute here? So I'll be sending now. How will I send? A and B. That's it. Over. Same thing happens. The value of A is given to X. The same process is happening. It's assigning. You learned it in what way in college? A will go, give it to X. It will come back. No going, no coming. It's only assigning. But in colleges you learned like that. Can't help. Understood? How it will go? It has legs, or what? Wings. It cannot walk also. It cannot fly also. Simple it is. So what happens is the value of A is given to assigned to X. That's it. And value of B is assigned to Y. Same. But the thing only difference is here it was in the same scope. Here it is in different scope. It is assigned. Like this only it happens. It is assigning. So once it is assigned, what happens? Now you print and check. It will print what? Value of X is 15 only it will print, and value of Y is 20 only it prints. You modify. X and Y you modify. Understood? So once you modify, what will happen? It is affecting X and Y. And you print X and Y, it will print 30 and 10. So here it will print 15 and 20. Here it will print 30 and 10. Valid. Here also you print, one second, before calling the method you print, which one? A and B. Before calling the method, you print A and B. It is 15 and 20. And after you call the method, okay, again you print SOP AB. What will be the value? Same. 15, 20 only. So it is unaffected. So all this process you understood, but technically what you have to observe here, how you get the value from one method, a variable in one method to variable in another method. Don't concentrate on multiplying by 2, dividing by 2, all this logic you know. This logics you can write, it's not a problem, but I showed you how do you send a value from one scope to another scope like this. Are you clear with this? Are you clear with this? This is no difficulty, no? Okay. Now in this M1 method, there are two values. How many values are there? Two values are there, x and y. Okay, here, one more thing, let me complete this first. So here, this A and B are technically called as arguments. And this x and y are technically called as parameters. So remember this first. What you pass always are called as arguments, and who receives them is called as parameter. So there's a huge difference between argument and parameter. They are not the same. Generally you think argument and parameters are same, most of you, but they are 100% different. There's no similarity only. What values you pass are arguments, who receives them are called as parameters. Done, not? Okay. So now, okay, this is one thing. So this is argument, this is parameter. What is this now? This is, what was one I named? Return type, now? One I wrote now before. This is return type. 2 is what? Identifier. This is 3. And this brace is what? 4. That is the body of method. Static you leave. I'll explain later what is static. Same thing now. Okay. So this is done. Argument, parameter, all this is fine. So how do you send values now? From caller method. Now again, this is again technical if you see. This is called as caller method. Main is caller now. No, don't think main is the caller always. Any method which calls another method is caller. In this scenario, main is calling. Main is calling. Main is calling M1. Later on you will see M1 can call another method. That time who will become caller? M1 will become caller. So any method which calls is called as the caller. Here only two methods are there. But gradually we will start writing multiple methods. So when you write multiple methods, whichever method calls another method, the caller means caller is the method which is calling another method. Caller is the method. Who is caller method now? One which calls another method. A method which calls another method is called as caller method. A method which calls another method is called as caller method. The method which gets called is called as callee method. Caller and callee. You know employer, employee, same way. So caller and callee. So if you want to see now again the same statement I am repeating but in a well phrased manner. If you want to send values from caller method to callee method, we use arguments. Now it has become a technical statement. Now, till now I was using just general English. But now I started using what? Computer terminologies. If you want to send the values from caller method to callee method, we use arguments. The parameters in the callee method will accept the arguments. Are you getting now how I am technically phrasing it? So when I talk tomorrow like this, you should understand. This is the caller method, this is the callee method. Caller method is sending arguments from there to callee. Callee method will accept in its parameters. Once you accept, you do anything. That is secondary here. You can write any logic in the world now. Clear this? So all this is clear now technically? First I spoke in normal English. Within 5 minutes I changed my statements and made it technical. Clear? And why you have to learn these technical words is because tomorrow you'll start reading books. Books they'll use these words only. And the only reason why you are attending course is what? You are not understanding English rather than Java. Java you understand, it's not a problem. Because you don't, when you read the books you don't understand what is the statement there, no? Yes or no? So that is English problem or Java problem? You have learned 22 years of English but still you don't understand one statement there means what? Yes or no? So that is why I am teaching you terminologies. These terminologies are very very important. Caller, these are called as terminologies or jargons. Okay, these jargons you should understand very clearly. Okay, caller, callee, argument, parameter, these are consistently used when you are reading books. Okay, so fine. So values will come here now. Now caller to callee fine. But what if callee method wants to give back a value to caller? That scenario also might come now. Callee method also might want to give back the value to caller. It will happen. Okay, so how will you give now? But first of all, let us notice in this method how many values are there? There are only 2 values. How many values are there? Only 2. That is 30 and 10. Initially it was 15, 20, but you can see here finally it has become 30 and 10. These are the 2 values present in M1 method. Now among these 2 values, which value you want to give to the caller? That's the question. Which value you want to give? So now see, from caller to callee you can give any number of values. It's not a problem. If you want to give values from caller method to callee method, no, You can have any number, you can give any number of values. How many values you want to give, the list of parameters will increase. I want to give 2 values, 2 parameters. One more means 3 values, 3 parameter. 4 values, 4 parameter. So from caller to callee, you can send any number of values. It's not an issue. But from callee to caller, you can always give what? Only one value. Same like C, no difference. But which value you want to give, you decide. Either you can give X or you can give Y. And why only one value I can give, that also I'll tell you. Okay, why from caller to callee you can send multiple values, and why from callee to caller you can give only one value. Technically we'll see that, but right now just understand, caller to callee any number of values, callee to caller single value. Which one you decide. So I'll try to send X value, I'll try to give X value. Okay, so till now see everything is correct here. If you want to give now, that's when we start using the return keyword. I'm using the return keyword now. Understood? So I am returning X. So as soon as you call this method, this program will complete, and then it will try to give a value to the caller. Okay, so as soon as you call this method here, I can accept it. Supposingly I have one more variable here, I'll declare it int c is equal to 0. C is 0 now. I've declared it. Okay, now see, I'll call this method c equals m1 comma ab. So what is this now? Assignment operator. I told you many times. Don't assignment is operator is what? Caution mark. Don't rush. Caution mark for developers, not for Java. Okay, it's caution mark for you. Always when you see an assignment operator, first focus on right side. Don't immediately guess what is the value which is going to be stored there. So here what happens, see here assignment operator looks very simple. Value of A is given to X. It looks very simple if you see here. Value of A is given to X. What is so big thing about this? But here it becomes very important. Carefully notice, because assignment operator, why you should be careful is, sometimes you'll be calling a method, sometimes you'll be having big expressions. So once that completes execution, then the value will be assigned to the variable. So it will call this now. All this execution will happen. Now a value is given X. Now that is going to be stored into C now. But finally what happened? The value in X you wanted to give to C variable. The value in X I wanted to give it to C variable. I cannot write here C is equal to X now. Can I write here C is equal to X? Variable, no problem, scope. C is there, how can you use it here? Nor can I write here C is equal to X. Here I can't use X, here I can't use C. So what will happen? You can't access the variable, but definitely you can provide values. The value stored in the variable you can give, but you can't access the variables. You cannot work with it. You can give the value. So what will happen now? Return X means the value of X is given to C, but you can't use X here. So once it is given, you can use C now. You print SOP ABC also you print. Here you print SOP C. What will it print? 38 prints. But scenario is what? I want to give the value from callee method to caller method. I can give only one, remember that. Either X or Y, not both. Clear? Now, by chance, if I don't write this, you might have one question. If I don't write this, what will happen? Method will execute. It is returning a value, but caller method is not accepting the value. You can reject it. It's not mandatory to accept always return type. It's not mandatory. Caller will send it. See, callee is giving back a value to caller. Callee is giving back a value to caller. It will give. But whether to accept or not, it is up to the caller. If it doesn't accept, what will happen? It loses the value. Nothing will happen. You can't use that value here. It loses that value and you can't use that value here. Are you clear with this? Okay. So and here when you say return, now this return type should change. It is not void anymore. You are returning some value now. What type of a value you are returning? Int type of a value. So whatever data type you are going to return now, if you don't return anything, it will be void. If you return something, that return type you have to specify here. So slowly I am introducing you what now? I have moved to return keyword now. Just slowly shifting the focus to return keyword. So whatever I return, I should specify it here, int. If I return double value, the return type should be double. If I return boolean value, the return type should be boolean. We will see how to return all the data types. Understood? All the data types. Just I am showing you int here. So I say return, this you have to change. So now from caller to callee you know how to send the value. It's very simple. What will you do? Returning is the problem now. I told you always where you face problems. Only two places. One is in return, other one is parameter. Understood? So parameter is very simple. You'll specify the parameters and you'll send the arguments. This very easily you can do it. Returning a value is very you think it is difficult, but it's very simple. How you have to decide first which value will you return. There are two values. Like this you can have multiple values. Among the multiple values, which value you want to return, you decide x or y. Okay, I decide to return x. But x is of what data type? Int data type. Change it. Only two things you have to do. Return keyword you have to add, int you have to add. Now in the caller method what you have to do? You have to accept it. Now it should be compatible again. What value is coming to you now? Int. This should be of type int only now. You can't use char here. Because you are assigning what value? Integer value. You are using assignment operator now. So you have to use integer value. If you do this much, value will come from there to here. That's it. Okay. But if you don't write this c is equal to, if you remove that, what happens? Value was given to the caller. Caller is giving the value to caller. But caller is refusing to accept it and he loses the value. There's no use now. You can't use that value. Understood? Are you clear with this? Okay. One more thing now. So now it is optional. If the callee is giving a value to caller, it is optional to accept. The caller might accept it or reject it. If it wants to accept it, it will say c is equal to. It will use the assignment operator. If it doesn't want to accept it, what will it do? Don't write it over. So it is optional to accept a value from callee to caller. But it is mandatory to send values from caller to callee. It should match. If you are having 2 int here, you should send 2 int only. And this is where Java is strictly type checked, becomes very important. Understood? So if you are having int here, you should send what values here? Int only you have to send. Till now you are checking what value you are giving to what variable. It was checked during compilation time now. You are seeing it in simple assignment operations like this. But now Java is strictly type checked. I was telling you what do you mean by type checking? What value is given to what variable is checked when? During compilation time. What value is given to what variable is checked during compilation time. There is so much advantage for that. What is the advantage? You know, no? Not so. Now you'll start understanding. There in those programs you'll not understand what is the advantage of type compatibility. Here you actually start understanding what is the advantage of type compatibility. So this method is very clearly telling what? I need values of int. So the caller has to send values of what? Type int only. Any other value error will be reported when? During compilation time. In other languages error will be reported when? Runtime. That is why Java is so strictly type checked. Other languages this error will be reported during runtime. I can send double also, but during runtime you will face problem. See here, actually I am writing the logic based on the assumption that I am getting int values. Understood? I am writing the logic here based on the assumption that I am getting int values. You start sending their boolean value or some other value, how will my logic execute here? It will fully fail, no? The logic itself will fail. That is why they are restricting unwanted values to enter into your method. They are restricting it. And that restriction is happening when? Compilation time. That's the benefit in Java. So write your logic, no problem. And you will clearly tell whoever wants to use your logic, this is the value you have to send. Clearly you will tell. So the caller has to send that particular value only. If he doesn't send it, error will be reported at compilation time. He has to send correct value. That is the biggest advantage in Java of type compatibility. Anyway, this is a subject which starts off now. Understood? Method is a very big subject. Initially when I told method is big, you never believed. Okay, and when I told you these two are difficult, you thought what is so difficult about that? Understood? So put effort now, automatically you start understanding. So values from caller to callee, mandatory. Okay, you have to send and you have to accept. Otherwise if you don't send it properly, error is reported at compilation time. But value from callee to caller, optional. If you want to accept, else return it. But if you are accepting, it should be of the same data type. If you are accepting, return type, it should be of same type. So caller to callee is called what now? So this is argument. Return means what? From here control shifts where? Here. Right now I am using return in the last statement. So when you use return, don't think you should always use it in the return, should be the last statement actually. Return should be the last statement in the method. You write any lines before this, error, unreachable code you'll get. So we'll see return keyword also you have to see. We'll see that. Okay, if you write any lines below that, you'll get unreachable code. So I have to put it into programming and show you now. Clear with this? You understood the concept? Concept is what? Very simple. How do you give the values from variables in one method to variables in another method? The value is there, means you have got variables. Variables are containing values. Now how will you give the value from a variable in one method to variable in another method? That's the concept. So I showed you how to do it. But again, if you have a question, why should I do it? It's very simple. You have written logic here. You want to use the logic. Yes or no? So for that logic, instead of write, see all this logic I could have written here. If I write it here, what will happen? I can't reuse later. So that is the reason we go on writing it in different methods like this. So when you write multiple methods like this, obviously you have to send the values from that method to this method. Obviously you have to send. Instead of directly processing here, I can do it here. That's it. So I'll write more methods, you'll understand now. I'll write some methods, simple methods, addition, multiplication, all that you'll write. Clear? Should I clear all this, erase all this and write? Do you have any questions here?
Sir, you have to return two values and what will you do?
We can't return two values.
For example, if you perform a swap function.
You can return only a single value. Right now, Java is supporting you to return single value. But if you want, you can return multiple value, provided you use other data types like array. Array is one data type, no? Or you can return one user defined data type. But in one user defined data type, you can have multiple values, no? That is possible, but return type should be always one. So time being, we are learning how to return primitive values. Later on, I'll show you how to return multiple values, but if you want to return multiple values, you should use different data type. You should use different data type. Which one? Array or user defined data. So what will you do? All the multiple values, you put it into one data type and then you'll return it. So the return type what you specify here is a data type. It can be primitive data type or it can be array. Array means what? Collection of multiple values, homogeneous values, same values. Or I can return user defined type. User defined data type is what? Collection of different values, heterogeneous values. All we can do, but return type is always single. So that's what I told you. Return type is a very big subject. Return type is a very big subject. I have to go on showing you now everything. How to return. I have to show you single value, I have to show you multiple values, all I have to show you now. Since these are your questions, I have to give the answer. Yes, next.
So method prototyping is not there in Java.
It is not there. Okay. So actually what is prototyping?
Declaration of the method globally.
No. In Java there is a clear rule. Okay. In C it is optional. See, his question is, can I write a method outside the class? That is what you mean. His question is, now what I have done is, class demo is there. In C, if you have a main method, you can write your M1 method outside this. You can write it. It is optional. Okay. So C++ is not, this is in C++ I am talking. In C++, not C. In C++ you can do this. C++ is not supporting OOPS to a good extent. OOPS means everything should be in a class. It is mandatory. So the implementation of OOPS is bad in C++. That's why I tell you don't do it, don't learn. Okay. So if you really want to learn OOPS properly, learn it in Java itself. Understood? Learn it in Java because Java is very clear. Whatever you write in the world, write it in a class. First thing it will tell that. It is very clear. Syntactically it is very clear. But C++ gives you multiple options. When you have got so many multiple options, what will happen? You will get confused. It is confusion for the developer. What to write where? It will become confusion. So Java is 100% or okay, it is, I'll talk about object orientation later. But anyway, right now, prototyping is not allowed in Java. Means prototyping means writing a method outside the class. That's what your question is now. It is not allowed. Strictly you have to write methods inside the class. Write whatever you want. Write it in a class. Whatever you want to write. And that is the next subject. Right now the key focus is what I am teaching, not class. My focus, what is it? Is return keyword. Method and return keyword. When I teach classes, you will understand that. Class topic is pending now. User defined data types. There I will be talking about all this. Yeah? But since you asked the doubt, I gave the answer. Partially, how much is required for the time being? How much is required for time being? I have given that much answer. But it's a big subject. We'll be seeing it. Yeah? Any other questions? So I have to code and show you now. Shall I code and show you this? Caller, callee, see all the terminology is what I introduced today. Caller method, callee method, arguments, parameter, return type. Understood? Writing, see, I'll tell you one thing very clearly. Do not bother about writing logic. Writing logic is the easiest thing in the world. Always learn to carry values. Storing values, carrying values is the main thing. And you people are neglecting that. That is the reason you find difficulty in writing the code. Because you want to write a logic. But where is the value? For writing logic you need value, no? Where is the value? Now you start struggling. Output I am not getting, output I am not getting. Supply value to your logic, definitely it will execute. Or you can debug it also. Okay, so that is what I am concentrating now. And don't deviate, the focus is what? Return keyword. The focus is return keyword. One keyword, it will take you nearly around many days for you to understand. This one single keyword. Okay, first I'll take local scope demo. First I'll show you this. Actually the topic would be 9 control statement. Should I use 09? Okay, 09 control statement. First we'll see on simple program, then we'll go to that. Yes, first check whether your program works, compiles, executes. So first always check your program is running correct or not. So once it is done, so then you can start typing now. Int A is equal to 15, B is equal to 20. Int x is equal to 0. Print value of all this you can print. Compile and sorry, one second. I'm printing all the 4 values. So what does it print? 15, 20, 0, 0. Are you clear this output now? Basic? Fine. Next. I want to use the, see always if you want to understand what is exactly happening, put prints. Print is your best debugging friend. Okay, print is your best debugging friend. Anything you are not understanding anything, put print. So you want to know what is the value of everything, print. Clear? You'll clearly see the flow also. Flow also you'll clearly see. Which one is executed first, which one next. All this it will help you. Any language when you are learning, C, C++, Java, always use lot of prints so that you can understand the flow. So now I want to give the value. A very simple requirement. I want to give the value of A to X. So I'll say I'll use the assignment operator. Now Y is equal to B. Now after giving the value, I'll print again. Value of X after assigning ASSIGN. I'll write it in shortcut. After assign, done. So we'll see what is the value. It is 15 and 20. A and B is same, it will not change. Yeah, don't think value is deleted from A and given to X. That confusion you don't have. Whatever is there in A is given to X. It is not completely moving the value. It is copying the value. It is copying the value. Are you clear with this? If you want, I'll print A and B also. See this. Value of A after assigning. See, this is how you have to put and steady. Okay, and this is what brings passion into your coding now. Understood? This is what brings passion into your coding. Bring passion into your coding. See, it is this now. Earlier it was 1520 00 1520 1520. So now, see, I try to give a value. Correct now? This is detected when now. What value again to what variable when it is checked? Compilation time. Isn't it brilliant? Now here it does not make much of a difference. In method calling it makes a lot of a difference. In method calling it makes a lot of a difference. So this is what is type compatibility. So it helps you to resolve most of the errors during compilation time. That's why Java is so strictly type checked. You try to give us different value here. By chance here I'll make it as double here. By chance. So here you might have a question. I know very well value of A is double. Why should I give it to X? That is okay. Here it doesn't matter. But if it is a method, you can't send double value to int. When it will reject compilation time. Correct only no? By chance if it compiles during runtime you would have got the problem no, because you are writing the logic inside a method assuming that it is of type int. So in simple programs it doesn't matter. See this. What is so big thing about it? I know very well it is double. Okay, I know very well double. Why should I give it to int? It is visible. But there you will write a method. Somebody will be sending values to your method. So you will clearly warn him during when compilation. Boss, you send only int value. That is the advantage of type compatibility. Yeah. Anyway, here you understand now. I'll show you with what arguments also I'll show you. So it is checked now. So this is what happens, and now this also is printed. Now I'll try to use the value. Which value I try to use? X and Y. Among 4 values, I can use any value. There's no restriction. I'm a developer. I can use it. X into is equal to, you know the compound assignment operator I'm using now, X into is equal to 2. But don't use space here. X into is equal to 2. Then Y divided by is equal to 2. Done? So again I'll print all the 4 values. Value of A after changing I will make. After change. I'll write it small because I don't have space here. It will not be visible. So let's see it now. So you can see value of A and B after change is 15 and 20. Value of A and B after 15 and 20 now after change. But after change X and Y is what? 30 and 10. First get this basic program clear. Then you will understand in what? Methods. That will happen only in a different location. First get this basic program clear. Are you clear with this? Clear? Any questions? Basics are very important. Set your basics right, because almost all the things in Java are over. We are only left with what? Writing logics now. Understood? And I teach you how to write logics. But to write logics, these things are very important. Are you clear? Shall I move to the next program? Do you have any questions in this program? No? Okay. So this is done now. I'll close this. Now file, new. Class argument and parameter demo. Done? See, that was his question. I'll show you. He was talking about prototyping. Prototyping means writing a function outside the class. Okay. Huh? Declaring a function outside the class. Huh? That's what I'll declare void m1. This is declaring only, no? That's nothing but writing outside the class. Prototyping is according to you just declaring it. But where you will declare? Question is that no, it is outside. So if you write like this is syntax error in Java. I have written nothing. Agreed. But it will give me error. It will give me error. So it will not allow you. Understood? I'll show you very clearly all these topics. Okay, when we start writing a class, you'll understand this. This is not allowed. But if at all I want to write this, I have to write it where? Inside a class. See the same void M1. The same thing I'm writing inside a class. Nothing else I'm writing. See, I'll write it here. I'll copy paste. I'm writing it there, and I'll comment this line. It gives me error, compilation error. This is syntactical error. But the same, I'll comment this one. There's no change. It will compile. Perfectly it will compile. Only you have to write logic inside that. So it's not allowed. Clear? Whatever you write it inside a class. Okay. But okay, fine. Now we have to write what? I need parameters. Yes or no? Okay, first we'll write this one. The same thing I'll copy paste. File new Java. Sorry. We'll open that. And I'll remove this because I need space. Okay. So I'll declare int a, b, x, y. And I'll declare on C also, which will be used later for return type. Okay, so value of a, b, c is plus c. This is a program. We'll execute this program. Or perfectly it is working. Okay, next what I'll do is I want to write some logic, but you should never write all logic in main method. Right now I'm not writing, I'm doing a very silly logic. What x into y divided by. Later on addition, multiplication, anything you want to write now, you want to calculate simple interest, compound interest, all will be written outside the method. So that time what will you do? You'll write a method like this, void, and you'll give a name, void m1. Okay, but you have to send values to that logic now. That's when you start writing what? Parameters now. See, void is the return type. If you are not returning any value from callee to caller, that time it will be void. If you are not returning any value from callee to caller, it will be void. This is the identifier, name. Okay, then you'll have parameter int x comma int y. Done. So now int. Okay, I'll not declare any variable here. So I'll write something like value of x in m1 is plus x. System value of y in m1 is plus y. Just I'll send the value. First we'll check whether getting it or not. Yes or no? So run the program. Okay, see, I'll compile it. It compiles, but you have to call it now. You have to call it. So how do you call it? M1, and you'll send the values. Which value? A comma B. There are three values. A is there, B is there, C is there. But I'll send A and B value because C is having 0 now, so I'll not send it. So what value want you send? There are three values in the caller, but I decide to send only two values. Whichever one you want, you can send. Either A, B, A, C, anything like that you can send. Fine, I'll be sending. But one last thing here. Okay, if you try to call, you'll get an error. Okay, to resolve that error, what I'll do is I'll put static, or just write your methods as static. Don't bother why you're writing it now. Clear? Just call the method. Write static method and call it. So now compile. It compiles. Now see the output. Value of A is 15, B is 20, value of C is 0, value of X in M1. M1 has started execution. Okay, M1 value of Y in M1 is. Then I'll put on end of main here. I'll put one more statement here, and I'll write end of main method also. And here I'll put end of M1. You'll see the clear flow, how the flow is going. Here I'll put end of M1. Here also I'll put begin of M1. Begin of M1. Same thing you can write there also. Begin of main. begin of M1 method, begin of main method, so end of main method. Done now? End of main, begin of M1, end of M1. Okay. So now let's just see the flow, how it is happening. First see the control now, how it moves. Still I am not sending, means I am not using the value, I am not returning anything. So first how the flow goes. See, main starts off execution. See, there are two methods here. See, there are two methods. First observe that. There are two methods. Main method is there, M1 method is there. Okay. So I'll be telling you this flow later. As soon as your class containing main method, a class containing main method can have other methods also. In Java, a class containing main method, this is a class containing main method now. It can have other methods. More methods it can have. Right now I written only one. So it will compile. Okay. So then what will happen? After compiling, okay, Java demo, I can execute. This is how you type in DOS prompt. If you do control do also, same thing will happen. It will start the JVM. You are integrated what? Edit plus with and that exe file. Edit plus with java.exe, no? So when you say control 2, the same thing happens. It will execute Java command. Java command is going to start what? JVM. Now in demo.class is loaded inside the JVM. And in demo.class there are two methods, main and M1. There are two methods. Yes or no? When the JVM starts now, how many methods will be there now? This is JVM. Demo.class has got Java command will start the JVM. Demo.class is loaded into the JVM, no, path, class path. Java command, what it will do? As soon as you type in DOS prompt, Windows will search for the java.exe file. It will start the JVM. Now your class is required. Demo. So what will happen now? Class path will be used. Class path will tell, look in the current folder dot, and your dot class is loaded into the JVM. So once it is loaded, demo.class is here. There are two methods. One is the main method, other one is the M1 method. There are two. But JVM has been designed to look only for main method. JVM has been designed to look only for main method. Are you clear with this? Okay. So that flow we'll see later. Don't worry. So you can have any number. But first you can see the output now. What is the output you are seeing here now? Begin of main. Even though there are two methods, which method got executed first? First is main method. This executes. Even though there are M1 and main, reference is first given to main. Main starts off. It prints value of A is, see all these print statements it's printing. Value of A is, value of P is, value of C is. Now I'll call M1. When I call M1, control is shifting from this method to this method. Which one? M1. End of main did not print. Yes or no? Stack will build. One method is sitting on top of another method in the stack now. That is technical. Okay. Don't bother much, but I'll tell you. So M1 is sitting on top of main method. Now main method starts off execution. That's a different scope. Okay. So this is, main method started and now M1 has started. Now begin of M1. See, end of main is not printed. It will print begin of M1. Then it will print value of X is, value of Y is. End of M1 also it will print. Then control will come back to main. Means from callee, control shifted to caller. Caller called the callee. After all the statements in the callee gets executed, control will definitely return back to the caller. When there are no statements, what will it do now? Understood? So when there are no statements, when all the statements in the callee method are completed execution, the control will come back to the caller. Are you clear with this? This is the flow. You take C programming, you take C++ programming, you take Java programming, you take Pascal programming. Which language you want to learn? All languages talk about the same story. So don't tell it is difficult. You have to learn this. Whichever language you want to learn now, this is a common thing now. This is irrespective of Java I am teaching you. Don't blame it on Java. Whether you go to C, C++, Java, VB, it is the common story. So you should know the flow now. Every language talk about the same topic. Argument, parameter, return type. This is the key to programming in all languages. Key to programming. Okay, don't blame on any language. And this is how they are done. And why they have done it, later on you'll understand the benefit of this. Brilliant benefits are there. Initially when you understand, till you get the grip, little confusing. But once you get the grip, you will love it. You will start writing code in most efficient way now. So writing code, getting output is secondary, anybody can do. But writing code efficiently is very important here. Yeah? Whichever language you go to learn, this is the same topic, nothing else. So don't think we are learning Java, yeah? We are learning how programming syntaxes. We are learning the programming syntax. How you want to give the value from one scope to another scope, from caller to callee, callee to caller. Okay, how you write logic. And Java is the easiest. Among all languages, Java is the easiest way of writing what? A function. Because it follows C. One is we are used to that. In Pascal and all, they call it as, instead of function, they call subroutine. Some name they have got, subroutine, that thing, this thing and all. C was relaxing, it called it as function. The words only are terrifying. In C, what they call a function, no? What they call? Sorry, in Pascal, subroutine. Now that name itself is terrifying. It looks like one submarine word. Forget learning it. Understood? So they are terrifying. But here they have made it more simplified. Clear this? Okay, so done. So you understood the flow now. Flow, you got it now. Next what we have to say is, we'll try to manipulate the value. Yes or no? That we have to see. Now caller has given the value to callee. Callee can do anything with that value. I am writing the logic. I can write any logic. So x into is equal to 2. Y divided by is equal to 2. Whenever you start thinking this is difficult, just try to do the same thing in some other language. Automatically you'll come back to what? Java. When you find, okay, this is difficult, that is not problem in Java. That is the problem with what? Syntax, programming syntax. That is, concept is same. All languages are trying to give the same support. No difference. But only we are finding out which is the easiest. This is the easiest now. See, after modifying, I'll print the values again. Value of x in M1 after change. Print more statements you print. Value of y in M1 after change. Print, maximum you print, else you will not understand. Done? See, 30 and 10. Fine. I have called the method, but after calling it, let us print the value of a and b after calling the method. Yes or no? Value of a and b after method call or after executing M1. Done? See the flow? Value of a, first is what? First initial on the top you see value of a, what it prints? First what it is printing? 15, 20. Then control is shifted to M1. M1 before change, what are the values? 15, 20. And in same M1, still it has not exited. This is M1. From here to here it is M1. Okay. So here M1 after change is 30 and 10. End of M1. Now control is shift back to what? Main. So there you can see it is still 15 and 20. Okay. So now there are 15 and 20 values there in main method. 30 and 10 values there in M1 method. Understood? There are 4 values like this. But as soon as M1 completes execution, remember that these variables will be destroyed. The value is lost. You can't use that value. We'll see the life, how long they are available and all. We see the life later. It is local variable and the value will be lost. 30 and 10 you can never get back. Once the scope completes, once this execution completes, 30 and 10 values are lost. So that's what we say. Our programs are working in primary memory. Okay, as soon as they complete execution, the value will be lost. If you wanted these values, you should have stored somewhere permanently. That is database and all, we'll see later. Understood? Value will be lost, time being. So it's volatile memory. Understood? Now, among these two values, I want to give one value to the caller method. That's it now. From the call, you see, I showed you in this what you are seeing now how to give value from caller to callee. Now we have to learn how to give values from callee to caller. Are you clear with this? Caller to callee, what will you do? These are what? Arguments. What are x and y? Parameters. See now, I'll show you. If I make this as double, very interesting now. What will happen? Compile. Error. Brilliant, no? Type compatibility. And see what will happen. Any value can be sent to anything. Junk value. Finally our output will be what? Garbage only. And what will you do? Restart. So programming is so tough in C. In fact, C is one of the easiest language because it's high level language. Remember that. But compared to other languages, C is one of the easiest. And it had dominated for 20 years. But it still had problems. And it had such basic simple problems which they were not resolving properly. Understood? There you can give any value to anything. And finally problems will start happening during runtime. Runtime problem is what? Only junk values it will start printing, only restarting you have to do. Restart computer, then you have to identify. Without debugging means you should sit debugging now. Which line problem happened? Where it is happening? Line by line you have to identify. So difficult there. In Java it has been made so simple. And they are identifying the problems at compilation time. Most of the problems they detect at compilation time. Are you getting the benefit of compatibility? Means what is that? Type checking. What argument, what parameter? Means say you are trying to give the value of A. Yes, its compiler is doing the same thing. It is you are trying to give the value of A to X. First of all, are they compatible? How can you give a double value to int? Type checking. And it reports the error because say sometimes here I have not written logic. You will be writing logic assuming that you are getting that value. And all things will go wrong now. So that's why if I write it off now, the caller of this method, I will finish writing. The caller of this method should take care now to send what? Proper values. If he wants to use my logic, he has to send proper values now. That is what is type checking. Are you following now? So Java is strictly type checked. Strictly type checked. It will not allow you only. So let's see now. You understood what is type checking now? Why Java is so strictly type checked? So int. Change it off now. Caller, no. Caller has to change. Who is interested in calling the method? Caller. Caller has to change. Callee will never change because callee is containing logic. And logic has been completely written based on the value what you are getting. So callee will never change. Caller only has to change. Clear? So he has to call it. Understood? So this is done. Any questions here? Caller to callee? Caller to callee, any questions? And I can send any number of values. See, I found I can send C value also. If I want I can send. But again, see there, when you compile, it gives error. There are only two int. Why you are sending the third int? And see what happens. Anything will happen. Yes or no? But Java is strictly type checked. So how you can see detect it now. So int, for accepting that what I should do? I should write one more here. Int z. That's your wish. What variable name you want you give. And how you use z is your wish. But the value what you are getting in z is 0. If you want to print it. Value of, just I'll show you. Only once I'll show you here. So there were 3 values. But you can send any number of values. Okay. Value of z is plus z. Control 1 compiles. Control 2. See value of z. You can see there. What you can see? Value of, it has entered M1, X it prints, Y it prints, Z. Where is Z? Yeah, this one, 0. It's printing very clearly 0. Clear? But I can send. But that time I have to change the parameter. But remember, callee will not go on changing the parameters. Just showed you. If you want to send, you can send any number of values. 2 values also you can send, 3 values also you can send, 5 values also you can send. And how many values you want to send? The parameters will go on increasing like that. And when you write the parameter, you should specify the type also. Supposingly I want to send now int is of type double. You'll be seeing all the signatures of the method, what all you can send. So this time your parameter will be of type what? Double. So don't think all should be only int. No, perfectly valid. If it was int, caller to see its error. You are sending double and you are trying to give it to int. It checks. See, you are sending C, but it should go to int Z. How it will go? It cannot assign. So what you should change? You have to make this as double, or there you should change to int. Okay. Technically you have to send, if it is int here, caller only has to send int. Okay, but right now I am changing and showing it to you. But just understand the concept. Fine, it works. 0.0 it prints. Output it is printing 0.0. Value of Z is. Yes or no? So from caller to callee, any number of values you can send, and the list goes on increasing. Understood? Right now we'll send only 2. Let's not bother about the third one. Third one I'm using it for accepting the return type. Third one I'm keeping it for accepting the return value. Okay. So now I'll remove this. I'll make it as int. Done. So all things are clear till here. Value of z. So again, value of z I have removed here. So it's local. Yeah, one more we were seeing now. Yes, that I'll show you. See, if I want to give the value of a to x, let us try doing like this. X is equal to a. This is what we are trying now. But it is an error now. Why? These are all your mistakes. Still I am going with caller to callee only. These both are also error. Why? Scope problem. See the problem. Cannot find symbol. What is x? You are not defined it only. Directly you have started using it. It's not possible. Same code you write it here also. Where? You are trying to give the value of what? A to x here. You cannot use it. Vice versa. Cannot find symbol. Variable a. What is a? These are your mistakes. And you look for what? Semicolon. Absurd coding you do. Understood? So don't always sit and look for semicolon. In fact, semicolon you should never see only. Understood? Accidentally if it happens, fine. But you will make it deliberately. Always when you compile, first you will look for what? Top to bottom, only semicolon you look. Okay. So there are other kind of errors which occur. But are you understanding why the errors are occurring now? So if your basics are clear, these things will become what? Very easy to code now. Okay. So all this is done. Caller to callee, any questions I am asking you? Because I am moving to return type now. Understood now? If you are clear with this, return type will become easy now. I showed you all things what's happening from caller to callee. Parameters, number of parameters, type of parameter. Number of parameters also should match now. 2 parameters means I cannot send 3 arguments. Type of parameter means what value is there, same means what type of a parameter, argument also should be of same type. And I can send any number of values. Yes or no? Caller to callee, any questions? Don't bother about logic inside this method. Do not bother single inch about the logic inside the method. Clear? And one more thing is, if you change any value inside this method, it is not affecting the values in the caller. It is not affecting. Noticing all this? Any questions? Okay, I'll move to the return type now. Say I want to give values. There are 2 values, 30 and 10. Which value I want to give? Right now I can give only one value. To give the value I am using the return keyword. To give the value from callee to caller I am using what? Return keyword. Return x I will say. Understood? And now say you are getting the value here. You have to accept it. You will write C equals. It's an assignment operator now. So focus. First right hand side will execute. Remember that. First right hand see. Remove this. First when you are seeing the assignment operator, keep your hand like this. First see what gets executed on the right side. That value is assigned to the variable on. It is assigning. Remember that. Understood? It is assignment operator. It will assign the value. So that's how it happens. It will assign the value. Clear? Okay, let's see now. I'll compile, but I get an error. Okay, incompatible, cannot return a value whose return type is void. Some message it gives. Now what will I do? Semicolon, So understand how you code now. You should change the return type. Okay, whatever you are returning, the data type, that you should specify here. I am returning x now. X is of type what here? You have only declared int. Change it here. It's of type int. That's what you mean by return type. If you are not returning any value, then it should be void. Till now I was not returning any value from callee to caller now. That time it will be void. If you want to return a value from callee to caller, then you should specify the return type. Clear? So now it compiles. Now I'll print value of C is after executing M1. Value of C after executing M1 is plus C. Here initially before the calling M1 is what? 0. But after calling, see what happens. Control 1, control 2. We will focus on only one statement now. Value of A, B, C 15, 20, 0. M1 starts execution. M1 completes. After completing, now the control has come back to main. M1 is 15, A is 15, B is 20, C is what? 30. This part you focus. After calling the method, it is 30. Are you clear with this? Okay. Now, if I don't accept, what will happen? Fine, it's your wish. You are losing the value. If I don't accept, fine, you are losing. 30 value is lost. You can't get it back now. Understood? As soon as M1 completed execution, 30 value is lost in M1 method itself. Now you cannot get it here. Are you seeing the output here? Where? C is how much? 0. Understood? So now to accept one more thing, they are given Java people shortcut. It's not that you have to declare first and accept it there. Directly there's one shortcut. You can write like this also. In C is equal to, this is also valid. Understood? If you want to accept, don't declare there and you can directly accept like this also. This is also valid. What is that? Cannot find symbol. Okay. Here what I am doing is, see, I am trying to use C before declaring. So what you have to do? Remove this. Or comment it. Comment. Okay. So now see, anyway, first C is not getting printed because I am not printing it. I am declaring and initializing there itself. So that's the reason value of C after execution is 30. Are you clear with all the coding? How you give value from caller to caller? But I cannot, I show you all these problems. I want to return two values. Not possible. You might write or whatever code you want, x comma y, y comma this. You can't. Error. It says I am expecting semicolon. Whatever it understands, it will tell. But actually the meaning is you can return a single value. It says after x put semicolon. That's what it is telling. Okay. But actually the thing is it's telling you to return a single value. The meaning of that actually. And you'll understand those errors, what they mean. Okay. So why you can't return multiple values is because, see, I can return, but how can you accept multiple values here? If both are int, what will happen? It will overwrite now. First C, x value will be given to C. If both is possible, then y will be given to C. It will overwrite. Some problems will happen. Technically it is correct. How can you accept multiple values? Sometimes if one is int, one is double, one is character, how can I accept three values? From caller to caller I am talking now, return type. It is not possible. So it's always possible to accept a single value because you are using an assignment operator. Assignment operator assigns a single value. Technically correct, 100% correct. So that is the main reason why you can't return multiple values from caller to caller. But from caller to caller it's very clear because you go on defining the parameters. This value into this one, this value into this one. Caller to caller, what you do? You are telling here, see, this is caller to caller. A to x, B to y, like that you can increase the list. You can send any number of values, but from caller to caller only single value. Understood? Multiple values you can return, but we will be returning array. That I will be showing you, tomorrow I will be showing you. That time who will accept here? Array only will be accepting. Yes, that is fine. Understood? That time array only will be accepting. So whatever you return, that should be the return type now. So are you clear with this? Okay. So fine. You understood all this. Now let's take some more simple programs. Any questions from caller to caller? No. So you can try typing all this today. Fine. But I'll just show you some basic simple methods also. Without parameter, without return type, that also I'll show you. You can practice that first. Then you get into this coding. See the flow, how they get executed. Are you clear with this? So my basic concentration was return keyword. Return keyword is used to return value from caller to caller method. Such a big topic it is. Understood? It's a very big topic. Return still it will continue. Okay, this is one part of return I have shown. There are two uses of return. One is it is used to terminate the execution of a statement. That I have to show you. Okay, and remember one more thing. That I have to show. One part of return is pending. Return keyword is used for returning a value from caller to caller, fine. But it is used for termination of a execution in caller method. That is also pending. I'll be covering next. Don't worry. See, I'll print here. This one, okay, I have to remove it. Fine, it will compile now. Fine. See this. I'll put S system. Now I'll put end of M1 here. I'll print. Correct now? End of M1 is here now. Now I'll get error. Missing return means when you say return, control will immediately return to the caller. And after while returning only, it will carry the value and give it. So you can't write a single line of statement below a return keyword. return statement. One line also I can't write. Clear this? Control is going back. How will it execute? Compile, who is detecting now? Compiler detects. It will not execute. Check your code. It's clearly telling. But I will search for what? Semicolon. Yes, sir? Don't look for semicolon. Understand the errors. Any questions here? So programming has started. You are interested in programming now? I have started teaching you now. Clear? All these days what? Silly thing. Int, float, I know all that. Sir is not teaching advanced things. Now I started teaching advanced.
Sir,
yes.
can you call a method in one class in another class?
2 methods you practice. I'll show you later on calling 100 methods. His question is, why can one method call another method call another method?
No, sir. Method in a one class, sir.
Classes I am not discussing. Anyway, just always doubt should be within, something I taught you just now, scope. What do you mean by scope? Limited. So doubts also should be where? Within the scope of the class. My class, not Java class. Understood? It will deviate. Long turn it will take now. Understood? And yesterday night I didn't prepare for that. That's no problem. Then tell now. I didn't buy it now like yesterday. So that's why I don't know that answer. Next, any other question?
Can you write method M1 before?
You can write the method anywhere. His question is, can I write M1 before main? See, this is, in coding anything can happen. Like this you can write it. It's not a problem. Can I write M1 above main? Yes, valid. It will compile. Compiler is not checking for the order of execution. During runtime, things are organized in a different way. Means when your class is loaded into JVM, no? There JVM will sort it out. Where MN is required, where main is required, it will place it. Clear? Okay. Then, any other question? I'll show you some more methods, then you'll get better idea. Okay. So now see, I'll just show you how to write simple methods. New, what will I do? I'll write one more Java program. See, class. I'll write demo. And main is there. First I'll show you a very simple method. Simple class demo.java, or once again method demo.java. I'll write method demo.java. Okay, see this, I'll write on void m1. That's it. Tomorrow I'll be seeing to write multiple methods. Don't worry about all that. Begin of m1. Okay, I'll write end of m1 also. End of m1. Inside this I'll write some prints, you'll understand. Inside m1. Begin of m1, inside m1, some 3 statements I have written. Here also you can write the same. Begin of main method, inside main method. Done, no? Begin of m1, inside m1, end of m1. So this is done. So now, see, that m1 will never execute until I call it. So observe that also. Because the starting point of execution is main. Main should be the caller. M1 is not executed. Clearly seeing the flow? So the JVM, and you see when you start the JVM goes on to search for what? Class is loaded. In the JVM, okay, your class is loaded. Which class? Demo class. And it is having main as well as it is having M1. JVM is going to call only main only. Main has to call M1. Starting point of execution is main. Main will call M1. M1 can again call other methods. It is a chain. It will go on now. Clear? So now how to call M1? You can call it. Simply, see, but you should make this as static. But observe the method now, how I return. Return type is void. No parameter. Correct now? I don't want to send any value. Understood? And I don't want to return any value. That's it. So you can make it as void. You can have the parameter as nothing. Okay. In C, I have got a very complicated way of writing parameters. Go and see. pointer, ginter, all that headache will come. But here your parameters are very simplified. Okay. So anyway, see, this is parameter return type. If you want to send value, then have parameters. If you want to return value, then have return type. Understood how to write a method? Now call it. Where you want to call, that is your wish now. Where, but main should call M1. You can call it in the first line, second line, third line, that's your wish. Where you want to that logic to execute, when you want that. So whenever you want that logic to use, that time you call it. Here, see, I'll call it here. Valid now. Call it any line. First line, second line, third line, it will execute now. Begin main, inside main, begin M1 now. Control shifted. After inside main, control shifted. Inside M1, then you can see all M1 is getting executed. Sorry, where is it? Inside main, inside begin main, inside main, begin M1, inside M1, and it has shifted to M1. Then it completes main. You have to call it. And while calling, if you want, you can send arguments. Understood? So this is how it goes. Now again I can write what? One more method. I can write what? M2. So begin of what? Like this you can go on writing any number of methods. Again it will not execute, M2 will not execute because I am not calling it anyway. So I'll call. Begin main, inside main, M1. Where is M2? Not execute. M2 you have to call. Now where will you call? That you decide. Now M2 can be called in main only, or it can be called in M1. Wherever you want, you call. Means it doesn't mean that wherever you want to call it, wherever you want to use that logic, there you have to call it. So methods contain reusable logic. If I want to use that logic in main method, call it in main. If I want to use that logic in M1 method, there also you can call it. Clear? So I'll call first, see here in main I'll call, M2 I'll call. Now which one can be called first? Anything can be called first. I will call M2 first. Then I see the control will go like this now. First main will call M2. This is M2 method now. Main will call M2. After M2 complete, it will be put onto the stack. After main method M2 completes execution, control will come back again to what? Main. So M2 will be removed from the stack, and then M1 will be put onto the stack. So it will replace it, and then it will execute. So this is a flow now. So you can see first M2 getting executed, then M1 getting executed. So first begin M2, inside M2 completes. It is removed from the stack. See, begin M2, inside M2, end of M2. All three finished. Control is again coming back. If you want to put one more print here, inside main again. Inside main after M2, you can print. Again I will compile. See, M2 completes execution. Control is coming back to again main. And then again M1 completes, then main completes. Following now? Or, if you are interested, you can call M2 where? In M1 also. That's your wish. See, here I am calling. Anywhere I will call. Main calls M1. In this case, what happens? Main is first put onto the stack. Then M1 is put onto the stack. Now again. So again you call M1. M1 will call M2. After M2 completes execution, it is removed from the stack. Then M1 is removed from the stack. Then main will be removed from the stack. Program will complete. So like that, any methods you can go on calling. Clear? So learn calling methods first. Writing logic is very easy. I have not written logic there. But we are actually seeing what? Flow. Understood? Clear? See, begin main, inside main, you can see now. Begin M1 happens, but immediately what happens? Begin M2. M2 will complete, then end M1 will complete, then main will complete. Very clearly it happens. So learn to call methods like this. Clear? Along with that, if you want, you can return values. That also I'll show you. How to return values like this, how to send values, all that I'll show. But basic, you should know the flow now. Until unless you don't know the flow, it's very difficult to write programs now. Understood? So this is how the programming happens. In C also same story, C++ also same story. Everywhere same story. Now, one more thing. I'll remove the main method now. Main is not here. You can write, see, I have written a class. Now let's see. In Java, when you compile, what happens? Will it compile or not now? Not compile. It compiles. But it cannot execute. Dot class is definitely generated. I'll show you. If it is not clear here, I'll go to DOS prompt and show you. Wait. Where is our code now? Edit plus example, August 2013. Yeah. I'll execute it from DOS prompt. Where did I save it? 9 only I've saved. Okay. So method demo dot Java. Okay. So dot class I'll delete. Dot class I'm deleting. Go to the DOS prompt now. CD, paste the path. You know the shortcut, go there. Yes, we are in the location. See, where I copied? I didn't copy that full path. 1 second. I'll close all. So we are in the location. So once we are in the locations, you have to compile. Now I'll compile. See, the dot class gets generated. I'm using Java C command. Edit plus also doing the same, but here it is clearly visible what happens. Java C, what is the method name, class name? Method demo dot Java. It will definitely compile. See, dot class is generated there. Yes or no? It got generated. So in Java, compiler does not look for main method. It looks for your class. If it is a valid class, it will compile. Class means it will look whether you have written all the code correctly. Means you have written a class, have you written the methods correctly, all that it will check. If it is correct, it will compile. But during the runtime, you will get the error. What error you will get? Look, sorry, what is that? Method demo, no? Method. See, carefully see this. Java method. Dot class, no? But you should not give the extension. What is the error I will get? No such method error. Main method is, so runtime, JVM looks for main method. When your class is loaded into the JVM, no? In that time, JVM is looking for main method. And it's not finding, you are having what? M1 and M2. Understood? Are you clear with this? So these errors you should be very clear. When you code now, you should not get these errors. No such method found error. Main, it's very clearly telling you. You can see this. This error, you can see very clearly. No such method error. Main method is not found. Very clearly it is telling. Okay. So now one more error I'll create. See how many classes are dot class are there? Argument and parameter demo dot class, local scope demo dot class, method demo dot class, all that you are seeing now. So now I'll type Java hello I'll type. What will happen now? The error you see. No class definition found error. Just notice the two errors. This is what? This is no class definition found error. Hello.class is not there. That one is no such method is not there. So what exactly happens? That I'll tell you now. Okay, are you clear with this? Okay, so the compiler does not look for this. See here what happens. When you start the JVM, you start the JVM by typing the command Java demo or something like this. Okay, so as soon as you type Java command, JVM will start off. Understood? Java.exe will start the JVM. So then it will load demo.class. See, this is JVM for you. Now demo.class is loaded into the JVM. How it will load? It will use the class path as a reference. Dot will tell look for your class in the current folder. It will load among in the entire operating system. I'll be telling you a very clear flow of that later. Okay. So once your class is loaded, then it will look for main method. Okay. By chance demo.class only is not there, you get the error what? No class definition found error. Class only is not there. From where it will load now? So if class is there, it will load. If it is not there, you get the error. No class definition found error. Okay. But sometimes class will be there, but main will be missing. So class will be loaded. And you get the error. No such method found error. You should know these two differences. Very important interview question, this one. When will you get no class definition found error, and when will you get no such method found error? Understood? You get no class definition found error when you try to load a class which is not there only. Java demo, class is not there. From where it load now? So no class definition found. No such method found error. Class is there, but method name is something like this. M1. You can have M1, M2, M3. Many methods you can have. That is different. Okay, but importantly you should have main. Main is the starting part of execution, and main goes on to call which method? M1, M2 in whatever order. Now main can call M1 directly, M1 can call M2, or main only can call both. That is different story now. But main is the starting point of execution. So when you write a class, it should contain main method. Compiler will not look for it. In Java, compiler is not searching for main method. It will look only into the syntax of your class. Have you written your class properly? It will be checking. Okay. Now what? If I write a class like this, empty class, is it valid? 100% valid. Syntax wise it's correct now, but it will do nothing. Understood? So I'll compile. I'll delete it and again I'll compile it for you. I'll delete this dot class. Okay, now I'll show you. Again I'll compile. What is that? Java C now. See Java C method demo dot Java. It is generating, see there, dot class. But nothing I can do. If I try to say Java demo, what will happen now? Class will be loaded. Again no such method only will get error. Class method is not there, main method is not. But empty class is also valid. These are all your interview questions. Okay, more you'll start understanding this when we start writing classes. The subject is slowly shifting to what? Class. Slowly it will move. That's the next topic. So I'm gradually introducing that to you, and then I'll start talking more in depth about what exactly is a class. Understood? We have to move to the next topic. Okay, are you clear with this? So anyway, we'll bring back all this now. Are you clear with this? Any questions? So here main will call and all this is valid. Main, okay. Argument passing, this is how the method flow happens. What I should tell now? Okay, now if I tell more you'll die. Better you go and practice these two things. What I have shown you today.
So can I call M1 2 times?
You want to call 2 times, sir? Call. When you write logic, it's your logic, man. You can call 100 times, sir. What 2 times, sir? I'll not call M1. I'll remove it. Call. Twice it is called. You want to call one more time, huh? Call. It's your method. You have written a logic with so much of effort. Yes or no? So you can call it what? 1000 times also. Not only you, I can also call it. We'll reuse. What I write you will use, what you write I will use. That is why we are writing methods. If it is called only one time, then what is the use of writing it? Directly I'll write the code in what? Main method only. You're understanding the technical reason? Understood? If it is possible to call only once, I would have written the logic in main method. Understood? One more I'll show you, last addition I'll show you, then tomorrow we'll go more into all this. One small simple method I'll show you out right now, and you'll understand technically how we write the code now. One simple method I'll show you. All I have closed, see this now, file new, Java, add demo. You have done addition long back, no doubt. The problem in writing all the code in main method, what will happen now? If you write all the code in main, what is the problem? You can't reuse. Say if I go on writing everything in if I write everything in main, see this is, I'll get 2 numbers, I'll add. You'll say int z is equal to, you'll add. Again you'll go on writing some code. Somewhere suddenly you'll get a requirement. You're getting 2 more values, int p and int q. You want to add these 2. This is a very simple logic. Later on it will be complicated. So anyway, r is equal to p plus q. You are writing this logic again and again. See here. That should not happen. And that I'll replace now with what? Method. Same logic I'll replace with method now. See how I'll do it. Understood? So now you'll understand clearly why we write methods. You can write begin main, int a is equal to 10, int b is equal to 2. I want to add these 2 numbers. I can write it in one line here, int c is equal to a plus b. What is the difficulty in it? Yes or no? But whenever you start writing logic, think of another method. Blindly you think of other method. So what I'll do this time, I'll declare int c to store the sum of both. I'll declare it, but I'll not do addition here. Instead, I have to save it now. Add demo dot Java Done. So first we'll compile and execute this. We'll see whether it's working. Yes, it's working. So now void add. Add is the name of the method now. And here, see, to add now, I need those two values now. See, very clearly you can see now. You'll understand why we pass arguments. Add, I'll call it, and I'll pass what? A comma first. See, somebody would have written the logic. So you just have to call it now. So int x comma int y. Understood? So then int x comma int y. Then okay, int z. I'll declare one local variable. Z is local to what? Add now. So then I'll say z is equal to x plus y. It will add. But this value is needed that side now. I want to use it. So what I should do? Compulsory I have to return now. No other option. So two values is sent from caller to callee. Now this value, which value? X is a value, y is a value, z is a value. Among the three values, which value will you return? Z value. So I have to return it. So among the three values, I can return anything. I can return x, valid statement. Code wise it's correct, but logically it is incorrect. So what will I do now? Return z. So fine, you'll get the value. So all you have to do is, what will you do? C is equal to, just call add method and send the two values, a comma b, valid. And then you can print the value of sum of both number is, you know the flow, if you want you can print more statements. Inside main, inside add, begin add, all that you can put, you'll see the flow clearly. So I'll write just directly, I'll write the sum of a and b is plus c, valid now. And these two values a and b you can get it dynamically from where? Command line arguments. Understood? That you can get it from command line arguments. Brilliantly it will work now. Okay, you have to make it as static. Just write static all the way. Don't worry what is static now. A return type also should change. Yes, you got it now. Understood? Say I don't know Java, you only know Java. Correct now? So return type should change. So compile it. Perfectly it will execute. Yes or no? And your answer for your question now. Can I call the method 2 times? Yes or no? Yes, such a good logic we have written now. Yes or no? So we can call it any number of times. See this. One more scenario will come where you'll get some more values. Int p is equal to 5. We will be getting these values dynamically. Remember that. Simply I am hard coding now. Int q is equal to 3. Yes, valid. Now what will I do? R is equal to add of what? X comma y. Valid now? Huh? P comma q. Okay. P comma q. Over. And I can print sum of p and q is, so I'm just calling the method, notice it. So wherever I want I can go on calling it now. Sum of p and q is, p and q, yes, is plus r, that's it. Int r, declare it here itself. Done. So how many other times you can go on calling? Understood? There is no restriction that you have to call. That's reusability now. See, main is only calling that method. Like this, one method will go on calling other method. Reuse. Whichever logic you want to use where now, there you go on calling it. Okay. And by chance, see, here I have written the logic assuming that it is int only. See here, I have very clearly written. I'll get the sum and I'll store it in int. So my prediction is what I'm writing the logic. The value is of purely of type int. If wrong value comes, this expression will go wrong now. Yes, that should not happen during runtime. That's why Java has made it as what? Type checked. See this. Double or char, anything you send, error. Compiler. Java is strictly type checked. Here it is beneficial. You're type checking. Clear this? So you can return values like this. Tomorrow I'll write more methods. Okay, if you want you can write one more method for what now? Multiply. Right now, how many instead of m1 and all that, you write good methods. Multiply. Okay, and xy, only thing is what? Multiply it. Return z. If you want to add, call that method. If you want to multiply, call this method. But don't write all logic in only one place. So what will happen now? When you call addition also will happen, multiplication also will happen, division also will happen now. That's why we split the logic by writing it in different methods. Here also I want arguments. Here also I need return type. Previous program you saw no parameter, no argument. Now we are seeing parameter also, return type also. Depends. Anything can happen. Depends on the logic what we write. One more you want? See, now once I'll call add and once I'll call multiply. That's it. Call it. And product of P and Q is 15. It will print. There it will print 12. 12 and 15 is the expected answer. C dot add. Okay, double no. Change it to int. Sum of A and B is 12 and product of P and Q is 15. Valid answer. Understood? Now in this case, add calling multiply is useless, no? Add can call multiply here, no? Add can call what? Multiply can be called here, but it is useless. What is the use of using that logic here? Understood? So you should know which method to call where now. Understood? Simply you can call the method means don't calling it anywhere. See, right now I showed main calling M1, M1 calling M2, M2 calling M3. There it was interesting. But don't think that always that will happen. Understood? Any method, wherever you want, you will go on reusing the logic. Methods contain logic. Okay, and they can be invoked anywhere. So this is the basics now. Okay, so just practice all this. Tomorrow we'll be seeing more things about method, but focus is still kept on return keyword. Still I have not completed return keyword. One side I am teaching you how to write methods. Still the focus is on return keyword itself. Okay. So any other questions you are having?
Division. Division.
You want division? Bah, what a great logic, man. Should write now. He wants division. D-I-V-I-S-I-O-N. That's all. What is the sign? I've shown you operators, no? Haven't I shown you operators? Haven't I shown you operators? Arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators I didn't teach you, huh? Java language? Use now. Arithmetic operator, multiplication, division. Same what you learned throughout your life. 22 years, what did you learn till engineering? Multiplication, division, same symbol, no change. So return it. That's it. And you can write this method anywhere. It's not that first multiplication should be there, division should be there. You can write it in any order, but while invoking, you decide which one you want to invoke, where. Next you want modulus, sir? That time will change. His question is by chance if the return type is float, then everything you have to change. I am working with only int data type today. Float and all will change. Okay. That time the parameter will be double, return type will be double. That next. Just working on only one data type now, int. Questions obviously will come now. So where are the questions arising for you now? Is it arising in logic or is it arising in return type and parameter? So that is the problem. So we'll solve that problem. Your problem is that only. You know how to write logics. Because why? You're all engineers. Yes or no? So you definitely will write logic. There is no problem with that. Okay. Only problem is how to send values to the logic and how to receive values after the logic has been executed. This only I am focusing. So return type, parameter. I'll be focusing on this type. I'll be perfect to you. Don't worry. Clear? Logic we can write. It's not a problem. Are we finding problems in writing logic here? Are we finding problems in writing logic here? No. We are having problems in return type and parameters only. It is begin. It's just started. Scope has begun. Parameters have begun. Arguments have begun. Return type has been started off. All these things we have to cover. And this is true in all languages. In C also this is the same thing. C++ also it's the same thing. Java also it's the same thing. These problems you have not learned properly in C. This coding you have not learned properly in C. That is why I am rectifying your problems first in Java. Then I will continue coding ahead. So Java uses purely what? C syntax. Till now I am teaching you C syntax only. From past 15 days whatever I am teaching you only C syntax. What is data type, what is for loop, what is if, what is else, how to write function. Still I have not started oops. Oops will start later. So basics be clear. The same thing we'll start writing what in classes. So I'm purely covering C syntax for you. If you're not learning C, no problem. Directly learn here. After learning this, you can go and write C program now. Vice versa also possible. But there it is complicated. Sending argument, calling method and all is very, very complicated. Understood? Java will make it very, very simple for you. You'll start seeing this. Okay. So it's a big subject. I told you beginning of the class itself. Writing a method requires what? Minimum 3 months. Every day I'll teach you. Because every day I'll write logic. Every day I'll write a method. Every day I'll have parameter. Every day I'll have return type. Every day you'll learn. Okay, so methods cannot be learnt in a single method. Okay, how many methods you'll write, that good you'll write, understand. Plenty of methods you have to write. Today we wrote at least how many methods? 3. 3 years programmer? See, I will open all the files. Everywhere you opened, see this is Java, this is Java, this is Java, this is Java. I'll open all the files. See here I wrote how many methods? 3 methods. Here I wrote how many methods? 2 methods. Here I wrote how many methods? Only one main method. Here I wrote how many methods? Totally we wrote how many? 10 methods. What 3? 3 here, 3 there, 2 here. So many I have written. Little we understood. After writing so many methods, fully we didn't understand. Little we understood. Yes or no? Then more methods I should write. As your doubts will come up. Sir, I want to return a double value. Following it now? We'll see it. Nothing to worry. Okay. Clear? Any questions? Okay, this is still C syntax. You complain now. I don't know C, give me basics of C, then I learn Java. You only complain now. I'm teaching you that. Clear? Okay. Java can be learnt with minimum knowledge of C and C++. That is what I am clearly trying to tell you. You don't have to waste time, effort in C, C++ and come and learn to Java. Directly, if you are having basic ideas of C, start learning Java. Basic is more than sufficient because so many problems are there in C language. Which one? Syntax wise and all that. Object oriented wise, there are so many problems in C++. Java is only a refined language. Whatever the problems the developers were facing in C and C++, that has been eliminated by Java and they have got the best part of programming. Understood? It is more refined. You don't have any headache here. Understood? Okay, that's it then.